Hi everyone! So this week's video I'm going to be talking about what happened at Johnson University and why I'm no longer a student there. But first I wanted to do a quick disclaimer, say the purpose of this video is not to be hateful or mean or hard-hearted towards Johnson University. They are a great university, and if you are a Christian I highly recommend that you go there. I just wanted to simply relay my side of the story and just basically explain from my perspective what happened. At the beginning of this past spring semester, I decided to come out and be myself, and I didn't want to wait until the middle of the semester or towards the end of the semester just because I felt like it would be more awkward to do it that way. So I just wanted to be myself, and I did. I started going to classes as myself, and there were a lot of mixed emotions, mixed reviews. All of my friends were very supportive and they were there for me. A lot of the campus was spreading gossip and rumors, saying why is the school still let him be here, you know, they should kick him out, they have every right to kick him out. And I, in all honesty, did my research. There was nothing in the lifestyle commitment form or the handbook that said couldn't be transgender and be a student there. And what happened was I was called into the Dean of Student Services office. We talked about it, we brought up Title IX, because they are a federally funded school. Even though they are a religious school, they do have to adhere to Title IX. So we talked about that, and he gave me an ultimatum: either be myself in my apartment and off campus, and someone else on campus, or I would have to leave. And ultimately, I felt like I had no choice but to leave. I was at a place in my life where I didn't want to be someone I wasn't, and I wasn't ready to lie to myself anymore. So I chose to leave. Now that being said, when someone asks me what happened to Johnson University, I will say I was kicked out. Technically speaking, I did choose to leave, but that's because I felt like I had no other choice, which is why I say I was kicked out. Because I felt like they gave me an ultimatum, but I really felt like I still had no choice but to leave. But shortly after that, they did allow me to stay in my apartment for a couple of months after I stopped going to classes, which I'm very thankful for, until I was able to figure out what I was going to do, whether staying in Knoxville or going back to South Carolina. And during that process, I decided to submit a form saying that they discriminated against me and that they broke the Title IX requirements for the law or whatever. They discriminated against me, and Title IX says they weren't allowed to. And so I submitted a form, I met with the Title IX coordinator, and basically they said they had a Title IX exemption or a waiver to Title IX, which, unbeknownst to me, I didn't know that they had this, and all honesty, I felt like they should have made it public knowledge that they had this waiver, just because I just felt like that would have made a huge difference in a lot of the decisions I made, a lot of things I went through. And I met with him. He basically said they did have a waiver, that if I wanted to see it, I would have to meet with their lawyer. Well, I took his word on it that they did have a waiver and they were allowed to discriminate against me. So I ended up leaving, ended up coming back to Charleston, and then a few months after I got back to Charleston, I found that they passed a law. I'm not sure what the name of the law is, but they made it a requirement that all religious institutions or any institution that had a Title IX waiver allow the public to see the waiver. And there is a website where they list all schools with the waivers, and it shows their request for the waiver and their response to the waiver and what they were granted based on the waiver. And I will put that in the link below. I do actually have a copy of their response or the request and the response, and I wanted to read it really quick. I know this video is going on a little bit long, but I wanted to read and show some concerns that I had with this waiver. First of all, I'm not going to read the request, I'm just going to read the response because everything they requested was granted. First concern I had is this waiver was granted to Johnson Bible College. The university is now called Johnson University, and I know that's a little picky-choosy in a way, but I look for loopholes, and for me that is a huge loophole, meaning the waiver was written to Johnson Bible College, and therefore it's called Johnson University now. I see that as it being no longer applicable, this waiver being no longer applicable to that university or that school, just because the waiver was granted to Johnson Bible College, not Johnson University. So I feel like that's just a huge, big loophole right there. Second of all, everything that they requested in Title IX says nothing about being able to discriminate against LGBT individuals, not just transgender individuals, but also lesbian, gays, and bisexuals, any other letter that I may have forgotten to mention. There's nothing in here that says they can discriminate against LGBT people. I will put a link to this specific request and response in the description below. The only thing that they were granted, which were the same things that they requested, were the ability to discriminate based on whether or not they should allow admission to students regarding their parental, family, or marital status, including pregnancy. Basically, whether or not they can allow divorcees or pregnant single parents into the school. And then rules regarding a student's parental, family, and marital status, including pregnancy. Trying to determine, the same as before, basically whether a divorcee or single parent can come to the school. Then policies regarding applicant for employment or employees' marital, parental, or family status, including pregnancy. Basically the same thing for students goes towards employees. They're allowed to discriminate based on whether the person's been divorced, remarried, single mother, single parent, get pregnant out of wedlock, sort of thing. That goes towards the employees and the students. And then, they're allowed to discriminate based on pre-employment inquiries they're allowed to ask your marital status, basically. And the last thing on here says that they were granted access to discriminate based upon scripture on the leadership roles of men and women. And this was solely for the fact that men might get better internships than the women on campus, and they aren't to be held responsible for what happens in that situation. Basically is it. I will put this below, so if you guys want to read it yourself, you can. But in all honesty, I know this is a bit rushed, and I know this might sound a little hateful. I don't mean it to be hateful. I do love the university. I love everyone there. They've only been kind and gracious towards me in the situation that happened. But I do feel like I was asked to leave when they had no right to ask me to leave. I felt like even though they gave me an ultimatum and I had the choice to stay, I felt like I still had no choice but to leave. And looking at the waiver and the quest, I feel like they had no right to make me pretend to be someone else while I was on campus, and had no right to give me that ultimatum. And I had every right to stay on campus and be Lorelei Adele Dantzler. And that this waiver was granted to Johnson Bible College and does not include anything in it that allows them to discriminate based on gender identity or sexual orientation. Okay, rant's over. That's the end of this video. I'm going to end it here. I don't want this video to go on too long. I know it might have sounded a little bit rushed. I was trying to cram everything in there in a short amount of time so you didn't have to watch a 10-12 minute video. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see more videos from me, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to share with your friends. And I will see you guys next week with another video. Bye!